The Jedi Order's increased involvement in political affairs had an adverse effect on Jedi Master Dooku, as he soon resigned to become the 20th member of the Lost 20. Residing in his family fortune on the planet of Serenno, the talents of the former Jedi did not go unnoticed, and the manipulative Sith Darth Sidious lured the Count to the dark side by preying on his disillusions with the Galactic Republic, and the death of Qui-Gon eliminated any hope of a return to the Jedi. The bonds to the Jedi were used to further the planning of the Sith, as the close ties to Master Sifo-Dyas had enabled for the creation of a secret clone army based around the template of the bounty hunter Jango Fett. The political skills of Dooku had also been put to use, as Sidious decided the Count should lead a Separatist Alliance, with some of the galaxy's most powerful figures opposing the Republic, and Palpatine could control the war from the comfort of his office. To the very end, Dooku had been unaware of the true intentions of his master, and aboard the dreadnought of one of his other creations, General Grievous, he was betrayed, and the Jedi Knight Anakin Skywalker soon took his place, as the apprentice to the Dark Lord of the Sith. But what if Dooku was a double agent? How could he help the Jedi fight the Sith hiding in the shadows? As you're going to find out, Dooku's change of allegiance could have saved the lives of countless others. In his quarters of the Jedi Temple, Grand Master Yoda sat in the centre of the room, opposite of Master Windu. The wise Jedi could sense himself growing apart from his Padawan Dooku, and the resignation seemed inevitable. Windu was aware of the fallen Jedi of the past, and he did not want his Jedi friend to suffer the same fate, so they sought the advice of Dooku's closest Jedi companion Sifo-Dyas. Their fellow Jedi Master be concerned about the growing darkness that could topple the Order, and he decided that to keep Dooku from falling to the dark side, they needed to install a newly developed behavioural implant, known as an inhibitor chip. The Jedi are wary of controlling one of their most esteemed members in such a manner, but after a meeting with several other council members and the creators of the chip on Kamino, they proceed with the operation. Dooku also agreed to the safeguard against the dark side, and after the implementation, he left the Order as they'd expected. For a number of years, the Count of Serenno stayed apart from the corruption in the Senate of the Galactic Republic, until one day he heard a knocking on his palace doors. Placing his goblet onto his desk, he found a hooded figure in front of him, and even though his senses told him to refuse the stranger, he was curious and beckoned him inside. Beneath the hood had been Darth Sidious, and the secret Sith Lord knew that Dooku had left the Order, and gave him new ideas to defeat the corruption in the Senate. Dooku showed an interest in Palpatine's views, and after several meetings, he revealed that he had been part of the emerging Sith movement, and demonstrated his power. The former Jedi stared in amazement, as all of the pillars adorning his palace had been simultaneously lifted into the air, and his power was sure to be a rival to Yoda. But with the influence of the chip, Dooku still held an allegiance to the Jedi, and he realised he could have a bearing on the future of the galaxy. Choosing to accept the offer, Dooku realised that sacrifices had to be made, and as Palpatine returned to his apartment on Coruscant, he knew he could not communicate with the Jedi Council without his master's detection. But he still had one way out, and after Palpatine liked his idea of a clone army, he ordered his apprentice to use his connection to Master Sifo-Dyas to resume talks with the Kaminoans, then kill him. Dooku had no intention of murdering his closest Jedi companion, and informing the Jedi of his plan, they used a decoy shuttle for the Pikes to target, and gaining proof from Lon Pike that the shuttle had been destroyed, Sidious's trust in Dooku had been confirmed, and he revealed that he had been Palpatine. The Sith Lord was now under the impression that these clones were based around Jango Fett, and they would soon do his bidding, but the Jedi had been given a lot of Dooku's wealth to fund the army. The protocols that had been put in place by the mysterious Sidious had been quietly substituted for their own, and they knew that the Sith would try to start a war. But without the identity of Darth Sidious, the Jedi could not get proof without trying to find Dooku, and he lures them to Geonosis. The Jedi Knight Obi-Wan Kenobi had been given the mission to find the identity of the Sith, and landing with his starfighter in the rocky terrain, he reached a secret hideout, where Dooku had been holding a meeting with the other members of the Confederacy of Independent Systems. Dooku could sense the Jedi Knight, and quickly concluding the discussion, he asked the Jedi to jump down and sit beside him. Obi-Wan is quick to ask for the identity of Sidious, but as Dooku opened his mouth to speak, it appeared as if his tongue had been tied, and he realised that Sidious had his own safeguard against a form of betrayal. Dooku was now trapped between both the Jedi and the Sith. That is it for part 1 of What If Dooku Was a Double Agent. If you'd like to see a part 2 soon, please like this video, turn on that notification bell, click that subscribe button on this channel, as well as on my other channel What If Films. And as always, leave a comment on what if you'd all like to see next, and how I can improve my videos. Thank you all very much for watching, and see you next time.